Hi, I'm Jill. I'm an artist. In 2023, we bought our boat Freya. We fixed her in Whitby and sailed around to Largs through the Caledonian Canal and the Crinan Canal. Our journey continues. Welcome aboard. I'm back at home painting, and I'm not at the boat. I don't want to actually tell you where the boat is or film it on the boat for a while, because I've got a lot of catching up to do between where the videos are at and where we're at with the boat. So the next few videos that come out are going to be like catch up of the events from 2024, sort of May 2024, which is this one. This particular video is round about May 2024, and then from then on it's what happens to us and Freya from May last year up until now. We're just at the beginning of September 2025 as I'm talking to you now. It's been a very, very strange journey, if you can call it a journey. I'm not going to say any more. I'm going to just let it play out so you can see what happens. We've got a lot done. We've got a heck of a lot done. But as you can see in this video, we're still very much looking forward to what happens next. You'll see what I mean. All right, here we go. See you in a bit. In this episode, we're going back in time, back to 2024. The weather's been terrible lately, and the forecast for our booked week off was terrible too. So the first evening, we had a really lovely sunset while we're settling into the boat. And we knew it was going to be a very windy, wet week as southerly winds came racing across the coast as a storm came through.
No. We'll give him a minute.
Even the geese were sheltering from the wind.
They were obviously sheltering from the wind. Which way are you going to go? You're going that way?
6-metre waves had been forecast hitting the coast. We'd booked the week off ages ago. We wanted to go up to Whitehaven, maybe explore a little bit outside the town. We didn't really feel like sailing. We went to Castlerigg Stone Circle near Keswick first. The atmosphere was amazing. It's like time stood still while we're watching the clouds go across the valley. It really gave you an idea of how ancient the place was. But we were okay. We were wrapped in our waterproofs and it was all fine. Then we went to Wastwater. It's a favourite place of mine, and it was a favourite place of my dad's too. Right at the end you can see Great Gable. I've hiked up that. We carried on to Wasdale Head, originally a Norse settlement, around 950 AD. There's a little church called St Olaf's, and it's the smallest parish church in England. And it's first mentioned in records in 1550. Legend has it that the roof beams are from a Viking ships, but that's never been proven. And this is my favourite bit in the window. It's such a lovely sentiment. It hasn't changed for years, although it has been recently renovated which is really good. And you can't really go to the Lake District without seeing the sheep. These, well, I think these are Herdwicks. Herdwicks are really popular around here. And then it was back to the boat, with another stunning sunset and more wind. The next day was supposed to be still windy, but just showers. In the morning we went and had a wander down the front. And what caught my attention was the seagulls with their youngsters and the character of the seagulls, all the different types. Oh, look at this one. It's completely ignoring the little baby seagull behind it. And the cormorant diving for the fish. They stay down for so long. And the geese, the Whitehaven geese. This is the sign that actually got me thinking about an idea for a drawing on a painting that I'd do later. Hello, you two. And then we heard a really strange bird. I've no idea what breed this is. Oh, those seagulls are so funny. It's the way they look at you and the attitude they've got. They always look like they're so angry, and that I don't know whether it's the brow over the eye, but they just look mean and angry all the time. It's like someone's annoyed them somehow. And then the funny thing was, the idea of the scavengers and ripping things apart and stealing things, and being angry, once we got back to the marina, back towards the boat, we saw this happening. I just thought it was ironic that we complained about seagulls ripping things apart and stealing things. And I know this isn't stealing, but it still made me laugh. Ripping this boat apart. They'll probably be recycling it as scrap. So we took that rest day that we promised ourselves, and I started doing a little bit of sketching out of ideas. First of all, I got some ideas off the internet and from some of the photographs that I'd taken of seagulls' heads. What forms a seagull's head, what sort of looks do they have, and I was really trying to capture that mean sort of aggressive look. Then once I'd done that, I thought up a little scenario. It was like of some seagulls in a bar, in a pirate bar. And they were having a drink and a laugh, and maybe one of them was falling over. And then into the bar would come a stranger, an unknown character, some sort of seagull captain who's looking for shipmates to go stealing and plundering with. And so it was that idea that got me thinking of the drawing that would become a painting. And here it is, the finished drawing. That's the sketch I'm going to do. I'm going to have another go at painting on the boat. It's a lovely sunny day, but the problem is, out there, it's too windy. It's too windy for what me and Mark want to do. We want to get to know the boat a bit more. If we were just setting off somewhere, getting to a destination, we'd probably dodge in between and get there. But because we're looking for conditions where we can play a bit more, it's just too windy out there. Tied everything down. Luckily, in the marina, in Whitehaven, it's actually quite sheltered. It's really good. But yeah, so I'm going to take advantage of a nice sunny day, albeit too windy, and do a bit of painting. And you may have already seen what I'm actually going to be painting. I did the sketches of the seagulls just to get my head around how seagulls go, and then I've come up with the scenario, and it's the idea of the seagulls being pirates and they'll pinch your chips. We're going to steal your chips. So that was the thinking behind it, a bit of a light comedy relief with the seagulls, because there's signs everywhere saying don't feed the seagulls no matter what they say and things like that. So it's well known that seagulls just pinch stuff. I'm just taking advantage of that. Right, I'll get started on that, and I'm also going to have a go at using a GoPro on this setup, so see if you can see me actually doing some painting, see how it goes. Alright, I'll see you in a bit. I'm just going to set up my own equipment, get the easel out, put the canvas on the easel, weight down the easel as well because it's still quite gusty, and I just don't want it flipping over mid painting, and we'll make a start. So I'm just going to put some simple lines down in burnt umber and add a little bit of colour in places just to sketch it out. I'm going to work out the placement of all the characters and the pieces, and then I work back into it. What I'm doing first is I'm looking at tone, I'm looking at where the dark areas are and where the light areas are. And then I start to go back in with the colour blocks to see if the colours will work together, see if I need to alter anything. What I'll do is I'll show you at the end what it turned out like. So another windy day the next day. It was far too windy to go sailing. There's no chance, the sea is just too rough. Once we actually get out there, we would have just been thrown around all over the place. It wouldn't have been comfortable or safe. So we decided to go on a walk along the coastal path. Once you get up onto the top south of Whitehaven, it's really obvious how important mining is to the local community. There are memorial plaques and there is still evidence of the old collieries. It was lovely to see the rose hips and the flowers of all different types. I don't know if this has been seeded, but they were growing quite well. I think this is because this path is actually in a dip, and out of the wind it was quite pleasant. It didn't feel like you were being blown around everywhere. And then once we actually got in the shelter onto the cliff face, again it was quite pleasant.
Bit of luck we'll be at the Dog and Partridge before we get to it.
Yeah. Oh, do you know the name of the pub we're going to then?
Saw it on your map.
Alright. In Sandwith.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. So we've just done part of the coastal path that goes from Whitehaven to St Bees. It's just about to pour down, so we're cutting inland towards Sandwith to see what's there and maybe take the inland view, inland path to St Bees rather than going round the head.
Find a pub.
Find a pub, because it was ridiculously windy and the rain was starting to come in. So yeah, we're just wimps really, but I don't care. To Sandwith. And there we go. There we can see the sea at St Bees. It really was rough. We didn't get to the Dog and Partridge. I don't know, I think it was closed. So we walked into St Bees and went to the manor instead. We had a nice meal in there, and then we caught the train back because there's no way we were walking all the way back again. It really started to blow that night. This was the night the storm was coming in. And I got up really early in the morning and I could see the waves crashing over the harbour wall. So I went round to investigate. Well, the birds weren't being stupid, they were sheltering in the marina too. It's about 20 to 6 in the morning, and when I was up a minute ago, I noticed there were waves breaking over the outer wall of Whitehaven. So I quickly got dressed and I'm just walking round to see what state the EC is in. On all the apps we use Windy, it says that there's a 6 metre swell coming in, and I haven't seen a 6 metre swell so close to the coast in this area yet. So I'm not going to go down to the beach or anything, that'd be silly, but you can get up to a vantage point to look down on the bay. So I'm going to go up there and see what it's like. I can still see it breaking over now. Marina's absolutely still. That's Whitehaven. It's so protected, and that's why one of the reasons we chose it. So let's see what we get on. I'm actually in the lee of the hill at the side of the marina now, and as you can tell by no wind problems on the camera, it's actually very, very protected at this side, but the wind is actually coming from the south, so it's coming from over there, so that's why I'm so protected here. I dread to think what it'd be like on the other side, but I'll be able to see, looking out, just how bad it actually is. Right, let's have a look. It looks like the sea's gone back out. High tide was an hour or so ago, which is probably why I could see the water breaking over the top. But I don't think it's going to break over anymore. The sea is really rough, but it's gone out now. High tide was ages ago, so that would have been when it was at its worst. it was high tide way early this morning. We're heading towards low tide now. I've had a good mooch around, and it's lovely to see, even though it's so rough out there, how quiet it is still in the marina. I think we've definitely chosen the right place. But I wanted to come out and see what it was like, even though it probably would have been at its worst, like 3 or 4 o'clock this morning. But I was asleep. I thought I'd come out and catch the last of it. Yeah, right, go back to the boat and dry off now. Later on that day, when the storm had quietened down, the sun came out, but the swell stayed. Obviously it wasn't huge waves anymore crashing over, but it was the next high tide during the day, and it was really rolly. You could see how rough it had been with the waves crashing into the walls. So there's the inside harbour, and then the inside wall is like a little wall that used to be the outside wall, and now there's an outer wall. So there's 2 little harbours, and it's the inner one that's got the lock into it, into the very inside marina. I walked right to the end. I mean, the waves were still coming over the top of the outside wall. And even though it wasn't as windy anymore, I could still see just how much of a swell there had been. I walked back and the geese were there again.
Hello again.
Not sheltering anymore, just saying hello to everyone. So that's the end of the video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.